Welcome to the Bald Truth Leadership Podcast, where you get straightforward, no-nonsense ideas on leadership and growth, both personally and professionally. It's brought to you by the Chief Coaching Officer of the Peak Performance Group. He's also a brilliant and successful serial entrepreneur. He's a two-time author. He's a certified executive coach. He's a sales genius. He's bald.
Hey now.
And he's your host of the Bald Truth Leadership Podcast. Buckle your chin strap. Here's your host, Coach Rick Colster.
Hey, it's Coach Rick, and welcome to the Bald Truth Leadership Podcast. That's right, I'm your host, Coach Rick Colster. Remember to like and subscribe. We've got a lot of great episodes, including this one, folks. We're available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, YouTube video. Hit like and subscribe. Get every episode. Today, whoa, folks. This week, we're stepping outside the normal boundaries of the Bald Truth. Oh, what the hell am I saying? Fuck it. We don't have any boundaries, but I'm pumped for the show. I am totally pumped because you know what? We're a month into 2021 and the shit show continues. Holy hell, God. But seriously, though, we are growing and making things happen at the Bald Truth, and we've upped our game with the guests. And today we have hit it out of the park. To say I'm fangirling with our guests today would be a little understatement for sure. Today we've got a guy who's got some serious leadership experience in both leading and training people. He's a certified badass, Army Ranger, drill sergeant, and even worked at the Border Patrol securing our borders. He's a man I completely respect and appreciate, I got to tell you. But wait, there's more. After he did his time serving our country, he had to up his game one more time. You want to talk about overachievers? Upped his freaking game and turned into acting and began starring in a number of films and TV shows. One of my favorites, Range 15. I hope we're going to get to chat about it a little bit. And his most recent work really showed his diversity as an actor. We're definitely diving into that because that's the reason I reached out. That's the reason he's here today, because that work made an impact, folks. And that's what leadership is about, making an impact. So here we go. Today, we're welcoming Rocco Vargas to the Bald Truth. Hey, brother, welcome.
What's going on? Thank you for having me.
Oh, man, it's a pleasure, man. I told you, I'm fangirling just a little bit. You got to go with this old man going, shit, this guy's got some serious chops in a lot of what you do. I mean,
thank you. Yeah,
go ahead. Acting, military. Where do we start?
Wherever you tell me. Let's start with military. We'll go in like chronological order, I guess.
Yeah, there you go. So, you started when did you go to get into the military? What drew you to that?
In 2002, I was academically ineligible to continue my baseball career. I played baseball my whole life. It's actually the only thing I ever knew, understood. I lived it, breathed it. I still to this day love baseball on a different level than what most people probably ever understand.
Okay.
I was in Kentucky, and academically I just couldn't cut it. Immaturity is what I would blame it on. I was gone. I was doing my own thing. And then I had a daughter. And I was raised by a mother and father who really showed me, being a family and how important that was. I knew I needed to provide in some kind of way. And so I decided to join the military in 2003. And I wanted to challenge myself at the same time. I just felt might as well, if you're going to do it, you might as well go all in. And so I went into special operations with an Army Ranger contract. And, I did my 4 years on active duty.
God bless you, man. And thank you. God bless you. And thank you for your service. Absolutely. So you went right in the Ranger. Now we talked a little bit pre-show a little bit and chatted about, my family's experience. And, but you were Ranger Regiment, right? You're the real deal.
Yeah. I mean, you go through, with that contract, it's, you're putting yourself in, you're volunteering to try out for the special operations. And so there's a selection. It's a kick in the junk, right? It's a really tough one. And then we go into, you get into the battalion. You don't even get a chance to go to Ranger school until and I know there's a lot of talk about this Ranger school. Like, what's the difference? In battalion, Ranger school essentially is like a stepping stone to become an NCO, a non-commissioned officer, essentially an even greater leader in battalion. So it is our version of an NCO development course. And it's just like a really good leadership course to continue your career. And so you can't become an NCO in Ranger Battalion without that.
Okay.
As an infantryman. Yeah.
So as you moved up the ranks and you obviously became a drill sergeant, so that transition going in from special ops to drill sergeant, you've got a lot of leadership development that you've had to go through yourself. So and that's interesting that, you think about it. We look at you now and you're this crazy great actor who's, I got plenty of experience. My acting experience was drama in college. And the only reason I was in drama in college was because I was bald, tall, and played on the football team, and I needed an A to get through. And they gave you an A for being in drama.
Hey, Rick, you're gonna laugh because that's what started my career. I was never good in I was never good in my education. I didn't have any focus. I wasn't motivated for it. The only reason I went to college was to play baseball. And so in junior college, I started taking theater classes. My coach recommended it.
No shit.
And that's what started this. It was kind of like in the back pocket. I loved it. I loved the improv class. I loved learning scene study. I loved learning, everything. And that was always there, but it was kind of like, you also didn't want to get made fun of from your friends because you're acting, right? You're in theater. It was this weird space that I couldn't get over my ego about it. At the same time, baseball was number one. And there was no thought process of how theater can actually become a career field. And so I never even looked back until after I got off active duty. I kind of took this really interesting direction. I went into corrections and then I went into law enforcement. But at the same time, in the reserves is where I became a drill sergeant. And acting was still not a thought process until about 2012. If you fast forward that whole thing, I started doing YouTube, and that's what kind of drew me into that. So I had like a whole different life before I even decided to try and commit to acting. It was Border Patrol. It was drill sergeant. I got activated as a drill sergeant. And so all these different dynamics in my life, I think it's kind of given me more fuel. And I guess I like to call it a Rolodex of emotions that I've been able to use in my current career.
So that's cool because you look at that. And one of the things that I found for all the guys that have interviewed, special guys that have been in special forces, it's that mindset that you have that gives you to allow you to do anything you want to do. And you can look, throughout history, you can look out today's model. A lot of guys that are thriving and driving right now, coming out of the military, have that come out of the spec ops world, but they also have that mindset. They've pushed themselves, whether it's Ranger, Green Beret, SEALs, whatever it is. They've known what it's like to be challenged and challenged hard, and they're not afraid.
Well, it comes down to you don't get into Ranger Battalion, you don't get a Ranger tab, you don't get into special operations without putting in the work, right? And that's like the biggest thing I've learned from my life is if you put in the work, you'll reap the benefits of the outcome, right? Whatever that may be. And acting didn't just fall in my lap. I have a lot of people like, oh my God, I'd love to be an actor. I think I can do it. And, I have to mention to them, I did 2 years of theater in college first. And then I did about 3 or 4 years of YouTube first, still learning. And then I started researching acting. I started reading it. I started taking acting classes. I started producing short films. I mean, it's not an overnight success here, and so some people kind of call me like, hey, I'd love to do it. I'm like, it's a little offensive because you don't realize the hard work it took to get to where I'm at today. You don't see that on social media, right? They don't see that on social media.
You're the oldest overnight success we've ever seen, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I've got friends. I've got another buddy of mine. He's been in a couple of films. Matter of fact, his most recent film just came out, but he's 64 years old. He didn't start his career he's known for now till he was 35, when most guys his age are retired. Professional athlete. He's a professional athlete. He started at 35, and he's the oldest overnight success in the world. Been working his ass off, and that's what it is. I think it's for leaders. We've got to make sure we're putting the work in, so that you get the chops that you need, and you get that experience. You get that leadership experience, whatever it is for leaders. A lot of folks listening are leaders or are driving around listening to it. Yeah. And I think that there's a great transition between what you said. You got to put in the work and you'll get the results.
Yeah. I mean, being Ranger Battalion, being drill sergeant, being in the special operations of the Border Patrol. I mean, that's all leadership is what it took for me to get through it, but not even that, lead men through it. When I was in the Border Patrol Academy, I was the class leader. When I was in Ranger School, I was the distinguished honor graduate of a leadership school. When I was in drill sergeant school, I got the leadership award. And all that comes down to is just the mindset of, or I'll tell you what my mindset of this whole time, Rick, is I'm going through these courses is I love my dudes to the left and right. How can I get the most out of them? And I think I learned that from two people in my life. I learned that from Sergeant Barraza, who rest in peace, was killed in combat in 2006. And then my experience in Ranger School was kind of a cumulative of everything that's ever been in my life of a leadership position, and using it in the most austere environments, right? Hungry, tired, no sleep, and everything, and motivating a bunch of men to complete the mission. That mindset kind of went back to my home, and at the same time, how can I raise kids and raise soldiers? And so one of my big mottos in life, it really is, I raise my soldiers like I raise my kids, and I raise my kids like I raise my soldiers. The root of all of that is I raise them with love, and so that has been what I've continued to push throughout my career, even till here. When I lead veterans to acting, it's all out of the love of my heart to show them why this career field can not one only be a career, but two, therapeutic in a sense. And so I continue to use that motto in my house as a father and as a leader in my own community.
Well, it reminds me of is the whole concept of servant leadership. Give first. You want to care about others, and I talk about that in my men's group. We talk about that in some of the leadership programs that I teach here at the Peak Performance Group. We talk about how can you serve the people that you lead, not let them work for you so much, but what can I do to make you successful? How do I make you do well? And the military transition is real. It makes a lot of sense. You see, there's those guys that just take care of their guys. They take care of them, and they'll go to battle for them. They will take care of their sergeant, and then there's the guys that, beat, and they're usually not the happiest guys. At least their platoons aren't. And I get transitioned
that's exactly
into acting too, and into work.
Transition is a life thing, right? We transitioned as kids from crawling to walking, right? Walking to running. I think transition to me is one of the most natural things as a human person is transition. You know what I mean? And so we, in the military, sometimes we demonize the transition as a scary thing. And I think it's kind of put this black cloud over a lot of veterans' head. They're scared of the transition, when I think they should be welcoming the transition and being ready for that transition and kind of preparing for that transition instead of scared of it. I think that actually puts a lot of blockers in their own mentality and becomes an unhealthy mindset. I welcome the transition. I welcome the change. I welcome the opportunity to grow. And that's what I try and push to all the dudes who follow me, all the veterans who follow me, is like, man, how do I transition? I was like, man, accept that it will be hard, because life, no matter how you code it, is hard, right?
Oh yeah.
But then, I put in a lot of backstops, as in like, if my relationship's struggling, well, then I focus on my relationship more, or what am I doing wrong in that relationship? If I'm 2 years sober because I realized alcohol was a big enemy in my life, whether it deters me from being a good father, it deterred me from being a good husband, it deterred me from being good at everything, right? And so, wait a minute, that's not a good thing. I personally, me, Vince Vargas, cannot handle his liquor in a way where it can be healthy to my life. Okay, that's out. And it took me a long time to accept that. I was raised in a drinking culture. I was raised from youth in a Latino household. It's very common to drink with your family. It's kind of this, It feels like love and relationships are focused around alcohol, and that's okay. But it just, in the end, it's not good for me. I have, a minor TBI and post-traumatic stress issues. You don't want to add alcohol to that, And so,
absolutely. And for you, you can see where I can see where that could be absolutely be in effect. And I'm hearing more and more people from, whether it's alcohol, where everyone's got something. And you think about that. How I love what I'm hearing is you made a decision to do what's best for you, regardless of what others are doing. What's the best decision so you can be the best you can be? And making it in a tough business, think about the military stuff. Freaking Hollywood and acting has got to be dog eat dog, man.
It was brutal. You know, in the leadership note I would take from the acting, not excuse me, from the not drinking is, imagine my kids looking up to the guy they used to bring beers to every other day or whatever, and now seeing him completely stop. I think from a leadership perspective, I've given them so much value in like, oh, you can stop anything at any point and change your life, you know? And that's continued to be here. Like, I've changed my life and I'm now an actor in television, you know what I mean? And movies, because I decided to take that step, right? I decided to take that calculated risk is what I like to call it, because
Sure.
you can't just sell the farm and try. Yeah, I had to take these baby steps because my kids still needed to have food on the table, and, you know, I needed to pay the rent. I had too much collateral you know, effects of my life before that I didn't want to interfere with. And so I had to kind of take baby steps into acting, but I still made risks that were calculated that now, you know, I'm reaping the benefit of those.
Well, you say big risk, big rewards. I mean, I started the Peak Performance Group in 2003, the year you went in, right? I'm quitting a six-figure plus corporate job. I ran half the country, Canada, Mexico, 24 people across, you know, three countries, right? I'm a big wig. At least in my mind I was. And I had to start this company because I was killing my family. I was on the road 180 days a year, away from my kids. I got two beautiful daughters. I got a couple grandbabies now. I'm an old man. You still got babies. I'm raising grandbabies now. And but I saw that and I had to make that, and it was a calculated risk. Man, do I want to leave this comfortable, cushy corporate job to start my own company, to do what was always been my passion?
Yeah.
And I took about 2 years working, saving, focusing, investing. So I've got a little financial cushion, prepped for it. And, you know, here we are 18 years later almost. And I run a podcast now, for goodness sakes, and a leadership development company. So yeah, you got to be calculated, but also go with your heart. And it sounds like acting's now your passion, man. Just got that purpose, what God put you on this planet for.
I agree. There's something so healing and comforting about doing this job, but it's, you know, there's this balance of doing the job and taking on the roles that I feel will make me proud, right? It's like I can take a lot of roles. I don't just take any of them. I really want to take ones that make sense in a strategic manner, meaning it'll put me in a position to do better or get bigger opportunity, or roles that challenge me. And that's like, so the movie Lucy Shimmers, that is exactly a role that challenged me, but it was exciting to take on, because how do you grow as an actor if you don't push yourself?
Well, I mean, and we're going to the same place, because I'm thinking the same thing. I'm going, you took a role in the Lucy Shimmers. So folks, Lucy Shimmers and the Prince of Peace is the latest project you worked on. And I'll tell you what, you really showed your chops as an actor, as an entertainer there. And I just give you complete props for that, because it was a complete 180 from the characters you played in the past. I mean, look, Range 15 was fun. You guys must have laughed the entire time you were making that movie.
Yeah, it was blast. It was just exaggerated locker room banter, a bunch of crazy dudes. You know what I mean? Like, it's like our dream film of guys like, we should make a zombie film. And we did. And it's beautiful that we did that, right? There's a sentiment behind that. It was gorgeous. But was it my best acting? No, it was fun comedy.
Yeah. I mean, I tried to explain it to one of my friends the other day, and our men's group, like I said, we're all either former military, former athletes. So we understand locker room banter. We get it. I tried to explain to them. I said it was the best, worst movie ever, because it was just
I agree.
the best, man. And you go, and anybody else, you know, average person watches is going to go, what just happened? They do. They look at it and go, what just happened here? Because it was so far out of the norm, how you produced it, how you did it, how you funded it. Good Lord, crowdfunding. How fun was that?
It doesn't happen very often anymore. We were very fortunate. The community came together and supported us. You know, I think the most beautiful part of it all is the documentary called Not a War Story. If you can find that on Amazon Prime,
absolutely,
it's beautiful to watch that. After you watch that movie, then you watch that, you're like, man, I get it. Now you get it, and it's just a beautiful, I guess, a way to close out that film. As crazy as it was, how far off that might have been in comedy, some people will probably never understand. If they watch the documentary after, it'll put the pieces together for them, and there'll be a little soft spot in the heart, be like, I get it, and I love it.
Yeah. And because, I get veteran humor, I get locker room humor because I surround myself with guys. So I get it. And I'll tell you what, but your latest project, man, oh man. And folks, you got to go. It's on Amazon Prime, right?
Yeah, you can find it on Amazon Prime. You can find it on PureFlix, and there's several other smaller places you can find it. But if you just Google, like I said, I think Amazon Prime and PureFlix are the biggest ones. It was trending on PureFlix for a while. I'll tell you what, I met with that writer director and we became friends. And I said, I don't want to take roles that portray me as a bad guy. I'm kind of tired of that. I really want to show the world to look past all the tattoos and the big burly dude and see a heart. And I was like, if you find something for me, give me a call. And he goes, 2-3 months later, he calls me and goes, I have a script. I would love for you to help me produce this. What do you think? I said, let me read it. I read it and immediately said, let's do it. Let's do it. Because it was so outside of what I've been allowed to play. And I say allowed to, because if I could produce my own thing, I'd be a dad, because I'm a dad,
Sure.
But Hollywood has me and they look at me and see this big, scary dude. And I get it, right? But I want to show the world the power of acting is, let me show you what I look like, but let me show you what in the inside looks like through acting. And I think Lucy Shimmers gave me the opportunity to really open up some emotions in people. And I mean, I can't even tell you the amount of messages I've received from this film. It's rewarding, and it makes this career feel just like so much more rewarding.
Well, it does. And because it's got everything. It's heartwarming, a little scary because you look like a big badass, but I love transformations, and I love to watch films where people transform their lives, and using the Bible, using God in your life and how he can change your life here. And a little girl, I don't want to give the movie away. So folks, you want to watch this thing, get on, find it somewhere, watch this thing. But it really, you used a lot of things, and you're going to touch a lot of people and make a difference in a lot of people's lives, I think.
I agree. And I mean, it's already been proven, right? People mess with me left and right. And, I love it because it stays in the space forever. That'll be out there forever. And people will continue to find that throughout the next 10, 20 years. And they'll still continue to be inspired by that story of it's kind of like change is possible, and there's so much more to it. I don't want to ruin it either. It's just a beautiful story.
Yeah, I know. It's a great story, folks. My wife and I, we loved it. You made this big dummy cry. I was crying. I'm sitting there getting tissues, and she was looking at me going, yeah, I know. I'm just going. But
the cool part of that story, the cool part of that is my daughter played the daughter in that.
Oh, seriously?
That's my actual, my 18-year-old daughter who's been,
blessing that was.
Yeah, she's been interested in the acting. I said, I have a role for you. I would love for you to play it. Would you be willing to? And she said yes, and it made some of those heavy scenes that much easier.
That's great. That's great when you work with your kids and that's what family's about is bringing them into what you do. And and I've got, like I said, I've got 2 daughters. They're grown. And my youngest, just so you know, my youngest comes to me all the time. She runs a restaurant and she comes to me. She's got her own built-in executive coach and dad.
Nice.
Yeah, she goes, I'm struggling with this. I say, let's talk it through. So I love being able to be that sounding board for her. And the fact that they come to you and they trust you now.
Oh yeah. We, my daughters, it's so different than probably the majority of people, but my 2 older daughters are high level wrestlers. And for the most of their career, they've wrestled boys. And so, and I feel bad because I was a single dad at one point, and as a selfish father would, I was trying to raise my boys to be good wrestlers and didn't have the time to take the girls to do cheer. And so like, Dad, we want to do cheer. I was like, we have wrestling practice. After 1 year, they're like, well, can we try wrestling? I'm like, yeah, perfect. Let's do it. The whole family. And it's completely changed their lives. You know, they're beautiful girls, but they have a fight in them now that they never would have been introduced to in any other way. And by coincidence, by chance, they are now, you know, two of the top ranked wrestlers, you know, top 10 ranked wrestlers here in Utah. One of them was nationally ranked. I mean, it's just kind of crazy to see that, you know, my leadership has kind of trickled into them, but hopefully giving them some kind of tools that they will take with them forever for the rest of their lives. Of, you know, sports, what sports does for people. And you would know this, and I know this. We're building resiliency. We're building leadership capabilities. We're building the ability to take a loss, learn from it, grow from it, and go continue to conquer it.
Exactly. You know, on you know, in a football field, you get knocked on your ass, you just got to get back up. You don't have a choice.
Yeah.
And you know, baseball, same thing. You miss a pitch, miss a ball, batted ball, you just go get the next one. And you got to take, and you're going to lose some games, you're going to win some games.
For sure.
And that's the beauty of it. And that's what it teaches us, resilience as adults. And I think that's the key piece with as parents, is we've got to teach our kids resilience, that, you know, it's not all sunshine, rainbows, and chocolate chip cookies. You know, sometimes you got to eat a shit sandwich.
Yeah. And that's the same with my veterans guys, right? The guys who reach out to me, they're like, oh, life is hard. I'm like, brother, I'm on my third marriage, right? I know. And, you know, and I can blame a good percentage of that on me. And so I've had to start from square one. You know, I've had money issues. I've had, you know, thought about doing bankruptcy. I've done it all. The whole thing. Obviously, alcohol wasn't good to me. I've had these levels of failures. And, you know, I believe baseball is what's given me the ability to bounce back, right? It's to like strike out and dust myself off, come back and do it again, you know?
Yep.
And that's this funny thing is I go speak to college baseball teams a lot because I was a college baseball player, and say, look, my life is here because I have resiliency. And I believe baseball is what built it in me, because I can't think of any other way I would have learned that without sports. And so now to this day, anytime it's hard, I always feel, you know, it's okay kind of thing. Like, all right, what did I do wrong? What can I fix? What can I improve and move forward? And I try and teach that to my daughters. And I was telling my daughter, she had an interview in the paper, and she said, even when life gets hard, I can always look back and say, I've had harder days in practice. And I was like, I win, I'm done.
Yeah. Isn't that a great feeling when you watch them make those great choices or say those great things, and you go, where did that? Oh, never mind. I know where that came from. Yeah, I remember that. That's cool. It's stuck. It is. It's real cool. I mean, for me, watching both and watching my kids grow up, same thing is, it's cool when you watch them. They were listening, and you didn't think that. We've all had, you know, I went through the teenage years with two girls as a single dad, so you could probably imagine that.
I'm going through it now.
Podcast on single dads growing up with two teenage girls. Holy crap!
Yeah, luckily I have my wife helping me now, but I have my two teenagers.
I love the family man too, because, you know, like I said, you play these big, burly, tattooed, badass roles, right? And here you are, you're like a big teddy bear, dude.
Yeah.
No, I won't tell anybody. Don't listen. No, you didn't hear that.
You know, there is the side of me that is war, right? There is that side. I was built that way. I was made that way. I was raised to be a fighter. My dad trained me my whole life. And so there's definitely this side of me, but throughout life of training to fight, throughout life of going to war, there's been this big ego that's been pushed to the side, and genuinely just care so much about people that I don't have that angry side of me anymore. You know, obviously we all have it. It's in there somewhere. You know what I mean? Years and years of training, it's in there when I need it. And I hope I never have to use it. But I live my life without the ego of the machismo attitude that the Latino community kind of gives you, the alpha male kind of gives you. You have to be tough. I don't believe in that anymore. I'll turn it on when I need to, but I actually have a switch, which is good. Most people don't, right?
Yeah.
I have a switch, and my switch is off. I'm all about loving and hugging. I'll watch, you know, these music auditions like America's Got Talent, and I'll cry. I'll be like, oh my God, it's so beautiful, because I know what it's like, the struggle, and to finally have that relief of like, I've been able to show the world my talent. And it's like, thank God, you know. And so there is a soft side of me, and I think kids make that make it easy to reflect on life a little differently, and then experiencing pain. I've opened myself up to that, going to war. I've seen some traumatic stuff that you'll never let go, and you start to see the humanity in life that is just so fragile, that you appreciate more. And so that's where my life is now. I just appreciate everything now.
See, that's a great way to. I think it's a great way to live. I got a couple years on you, a couple more gray hairs. Trust me, you'll be like this in 25 years when you're my age, right? And but yeah, you appreciate, you have appreciation for life and appreciation for love, and I just love how your perspective is, where you've gone, what you're doing. You've shown, and to me, you've shown the world that you're a bigger man than the demons that could keep you down. And
Yes,
you have the ability we have the ability as human beings to make decisions that are good for us. We don't have to be a product of our circumstances. We can make our life what we want it to be. And I love that. So, hey man, I appreciate it. It's been a good one. I had a couple other things I want to run by you, but any projects what's coming up? What's in the future here? What are you working on?
I'm really trying to get into the position of being a storyteller of our time, right? So I have my foot in the door with Hollywood. I'm trying to keep that door open. I have a documentary coming out about Jason Dunham. He's a Medal of Honor recipient who jumped on a grenade to sacrifice his life for his brothers. That documentary will be shopping around here soon. So hopefully you see that sometime for the Marine Corps birthday or Veterans Day. We'll figure that one out. Obviously we're doing Myans. I can't say much about that, but that continues to roll, and hopefully
that should be fun.
Oh my goodness, it's a blessing. During all this hard times, I was still been able to collect a check and work, and it's been beautiful. And there's always stuff out there. I've been doing music, and music is really just based on my poems that I've been able to put music to, and we're just always growing, and we're always trying to provide value to the community, whether it's veterans or anyone, whoever wants to listen into me, whoever wants to watch my YouTube videos or even my podcast. It comes down to providing value, and I just want to give my life experiences and talk to people that do the same. And so being on this podcast was just always an honor,
Oh man, I appreciate it. So, okay, I've got one thing, and I call them Coach Rick's Bald Truth Questions. And I think you're going to really like this, because you've opened yourself up like I'll tell you, no other guest really has. You've been heartfelt, opened yourself up, and this one's going to challenge you a little bit, but it's also going to tell a lot more about you. Although I think we know. All right, here's a question: you're holding a dinner party for 5 people, or 6, yourself included. You're holding a dinner party. What 5 people do you invite? All history, anybody alive or dead. You can invite anybody you want. Who do you invite?
I think 3 right away. I mean, my mother, father, and my wife. So just because the conversation is always great.
That's cool.
After that, that's a tough one. I would love to sit down with John Leguizamo. He is the first actor I've seen him do his 1-hour show, and it blew me away. So I think he was probably the biggest inspiration to me as a young kid wanting to do that. I would love to sit there and have a dinner and just talk about that with him. Man, artists, like Salvador Dali blows me away as a painter. I think his mind is just so awesome. That is one. And then the writer who wrote Fight Club, his name is Chuck Palahniuk, I believe it is. To get into the mind of the creative has always been, something that's interesting, like songwriters or painters or artists. And so Chuck is the guy who wrote the original book of Fight Club. Just the mind of that alone is brilliant. And
just
to be able to
mind, I like it.
Yeah. And, besides my wife and my parents, who I just love their company, those guys are creatives, and it's really who I am as a creative in all capacity is a creative. And so those would be the guys I would love to dig deep and see where their mind comes from, because I always get jealous, and jealous in a term like, and it's not even envy, it's like respect, when a writer or a songwriter or an actor can create something that I was like, oh, I don't know if I have that in me, and that bothers me. You know what I mean? And I love that. I love that.
That's great. All right. Second question. Articles being written about you after you're gone. What's the title?
He was the lighthouse. I like to call myself or think of myself as currently a lighthouse. There's many of us, but I am that guy that is the shining light for those. If I can guide the path, I will, and I can stand there and take the damage from the current. I'm the guy that will stand sturdy and stay true, and I want to continue to be that for our community. And so if I can be the lighthouse for those, let me shine that light. Let me show you the way.
Oh, what a blessing, man. That's a great answer. And finally, what do you do each morning to wake up? When you wake up, set yourself up for success. What's your routine?
So when I'm home in LA, in Utah, I wake up and get the kids ready for school. And I really don't. It's really just managing the machine. They have a system. I kind of facilitate the system, right now we have a new baby in the house. Well, he's 1 year in a couple of days. And
wow.
So, I kiss him, I kiss my wife, I take the kids to school, and that routine, most people would probably not think twice about it. Every day I take them to school and drop them off. It's I love you. Have a good day. And that is so powerful for me. So that's my routine. My kids are everything for me. Every morning it's a good morning for my wife when I'm not home, and how are the kids? And so that's my routine. My family is my motivation, my inspiration, my push, my drive, my chase.
That's amazing. Oh, man, I love that. That's a good way to set yourself up, folks. Tell your family you love them. I mean, you can't say that enough. That's for sure. I believe that. So, hey, Vince, man, I appreciate you coming on. It's been a pleasure. How can people get a hold of you? I know Lucy Shimmers and the Prince of Peace. They definitely got to watch that one. So how can people get a hold of you, or follow you, whatever it is?
Yep. Go check out my Instagram. It's vincent.rocco.vargas. On Twitter, it is at the real_Rocco. Anywhere you find me, you can message me if you have questions. I answer every single message. I answer every single email. I'm open for your discussion. And again, I just appreciate you. Thank you so much. Veteran.com is a movement to help the community. We are going to be giving away a truck, and understand the money we make from giving away this truck, we are going to be building a veteran transition center. And for me, that is not revolved around drinking. And for me, this is providing answers for some of the suicide issues we have in our community. So check that out. If you can support it, please do. And any other way I can provide value to you, just reach out.
All right, veteran.com. That's right, folks. Look down below if you're on YouTube watching us. And
it's veteran with a B, like veteran.
Veteran with a B.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. We got it. So veteran and they got a big thing coming up. Definitely get in on that. Vince, man, it's been a pleasure, dude. I got to tell you, I'm even more fangirling now that I gotten to know you, man. I can't wait to bump into you in person, man. Sometime we're going to do this sometime. You make it to DFW, you got dinner on me. How's that?
All right. Sounds good. And let's talk offline.
Folks,
I'd love to
I'm
talk
Coach
about
Rick. That's right. I'm Coach Rick. That's the Bald Truth.
You've been listening to The Bald Truth with Coach Rick of the Peak Performance Group, the company that helps people and organizations reach their potential. If you're looking for a way to grow your organization, whether it's sales or strategic direction, the Peak Performance Group coaches can help you grow with their proven business acceleration process. Call them at 817-748-7425 or go to mypotentialplus.com and they'll connect you with the right coach for you. And remember to subscribe and like below. The Bald Truth Leadership Podcast is available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, and YouTube video. Hit like and subscribe to get every episode. Thanks for listening to the Bald Truth Leadership Podcast. And until next time, roll up your sleeves and get to work, and you can make things happen.
I'm Coach Rick, and that's the Bald Truth.